we using data to make decisions? And to help us unpack this big topic is Wilfred. He's no stranger to us. So karibu sana Wilfred. Thank you so much for being our in-house trader, regular, that I must say. But thank you so much for joining us, and everyone else on the call. Thank you so much. I know today it's very HR oriented, so I also want to see what are my fellow HRs doing in the space of data and HR analytics. Today we are sitting in boardrooms, and boardrooms you can no longer be talking about hiring only. We're talking about attrition, we're talking about retention rates, we are talking about cost to companies. These are terms HRs we did not use to present before to our management and our boards. So tighten your seatbelts. It's going to be very interesting. I'm very excited just to see what Wilfred has prepared for us, and also how he will challenge us. Our normal thinking HRs, I think it's high time we get out of the box. So, karibu sana. My name is Purity Wanjiro. We come from this wonderful company called ACCUREX. And ACCUREX has been there for many years. Now we are on our 10th year. Very lovely journey, I must say. I know I've met some of you, others I'm yet to meet with you, but I'm hoping in the course of this lifetime, I'm able to meet with you. So we do HR consulting, we do training, we do recruitment. Also, if you're looking for a job, feel free to visit our website and see what you're doing in the space of recruitment. So that is what we are up to today. Wilfred, without much further ado, over to you. Let's see where this data and HR analytics is taking us. And thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
I don't know, I talk about the structure of the webinar.
All right, yeah,
Yes.
Do talk about that, please, as I share the screen.
Okay, we're starting with a presentation by Wilfred. That will take about 45-50 minutes thereabout, and then we'll do a Q&A session at the very tail end. Wilfred is very enthusiastic about demos, but I don't think today you have the space for a demo, but watch it tuone venye kutaenda. But that is the structure. We have a Q&A at the end. We have a feedback form. Feel free to give us any sort of feedback, what types of trainings you want to come your way in the coming webinar series. I know we are approaching end of the year, and happy very new month this today, 1st of October. It almost skipped me. So welcome to October. Also, we wind up on the webinar series. So that is the structure. Give us feedback at the tail end. There'll be a feedback form. If you want a certificate, we have a certificate. So all of those, we are able to do them at the tail end. So over to you, Wilfred, and karibu sana.
Thank you very much. Confirm you can see my screen.
Wilfred, yes, I'm able to see your screen.
All right, thank you very much. Audio, I'm good also on audio. Isikuwe najiongelesha peke yake. You know the tricky thing with webinars, you can be speaking.
I know.
The way you are speaking yourself. All right.
Yes, the audio is perfect.
All right. Now, as Spirit had mentioned, I am Wilfred, and today, as always, I'm happy to be here. And today is a big day that we talk about data. And today we are not talking about small data; we are talking about big data. And many of us on the call today may have heard about big data, and some may know about it, some may not know about it, but we are here to at least explain further what that is, and of course, what it brings to the table and how that can help us as HR managers, because I believe we don't only have HRs on the call today, but there are various leaders within various departments or sectors that we have. But as we say, learning stops when you stop learning. So we learn each day as long as we are open to it. So without further ado, I'll just go straight to the topic of the day, or rather the topics, what we are going to run today. If time allows, we are going to tackle a few things, 6 topics to be precise. And one of them is understanding big data and what it does in HR. Number two would be the role of analytics in decision making. Now, this again, we are focusing on HR, but don't be limited in your mind because this one data goes around. So we don't have to feel that, okay, I'm not an HR, how this is important to me. But yes, you can find things that we are going to talk about today, they cut across all sectors. So again, we're going to see about tools and technologies that HR use in terms of the data analytics. We are going to talk about overcoming challenges because any system or any data processing definitely comes with challenges and how to overcome that. As long as we know what the challenges are, we have to find, or rather we find solutions to overcome that. Then towards the end, you are going to see how to build a data-driven culture because, I mean, we are in AI world. Right now, data is a big thing. Someone said data is the new gold these days. When you have data, when you have things that people will be looking for. All right, and then we are going to see what the future holds in terms of HR analytics, and again revolving around data and such. All right, so let's be open. Let's get cracking. At the end of the day, or at the end of the call, I'm hoping that we'll have learned how this big data, or how this data is reshaping our HR strategies and HR practices. We are going to see, or rather we are going to gain knowledge in clarity on how HR and analytics tools work in our everyday professional environment, and how we can apply them effectively so that it can help us. Because data, if you have data, but if this data is not helping you, it's as good as just data, right? So again, we're going to discover methods that are going to help us, or help the recruiters. These are the HR mainly, but you find that many companies, even HR, they're just told, okay, there's some so-and-so who is coming, prepare the desk, prepare the onboarding kitty, that to cater for that, all right? We're seeing how to see the work, to learn how workforce planning helps us, or rather how this data helps us in workforce planning. Again, we are going to understand how to overcome the challenges like quality, quantity, compliance, ethics, and such like stuff. So we are going to explore a case study. Now this will be our case study will be based on Google. We are going to see how data analytics help them scale up to how they are today, and how adoption of HR analytics is helping very many companies that can to scale up. Right. So we realize that in today's competitive environment, HR is no longer just about managing people, but is about making smart data, smart decisions, and these smart decisions are driven by data, because you cannot just make any decision without having known the A's and B's of it, right? The future is now. So us as people who are living in today's times, it's very important to stop now using manual reporting, and this cuts across not just HRs. This cuts across all sectors, as I said in the beginning, that we don't have to be based on, okay, this I feel this decision should be made this way. So the term I feel these days not be should not resonate in a data-driven world. So any decisions that we make, whether you are a HR trying to onboard, whether you are a corporate or rather CEO trying to make strategic decisions on your organization, it has to be backed up by data, right? So we find that in manual reporting, there is a lot of fragments to data here, there, and having to process through that becomes a cumbersome, task. So performance management and workforce planning becomes a very tedious task if you do not have data that is curated enough so that it can give you insights, right? So that said, let's see how to define that. Now, I think I'll ask a question here. Do we know what big data refers to? Without reading, of course. I have given you the Mwakenya. What do you understand? Or maybe I'll rephrase the question. Not exactly based on what I've defined it. How do you define it yourself, right? Maybe by show of hand, someone can just unmute and talk to us, or you can, participate on the chat platform, and Purity will help me, assist me in trying to highlight how do we understand about big data, right? Anyone? I don't see hands up.
We can also use the chat box
Yes.
if you have any ideas.
Or I'll start picking, because realize that webinars have a way of being tricky in terms of people listening partially. Maybe if you pick someone, you realize, oh, this guy was absent, he was not listening. But I know we have a good crowd. We have always been very interactive. So how do we understand by the term big data? So all right, I think I'll repeat the question. Kibaya said I'll repeat the question. I'm asking, how do we understand by the term big data? Or how do we define it in simple terms? Yeah.
I think I can help you, Wilfred. I think big data today means it's a lot of data, as especially at input level. Uh, it's a let me just use a lot. So, for example, you have employees, like say 1,000 employees. You see, 1,000 by itself is a lot of data. So these 1,000, you want to do leave analysis, you want to do attendance analysis. So I want to assume that is what it means by big data. So today we're not playing with small numbers, because I think previously, like, attendance was present or absent, but today attendance has come down up to the second you reported to work. For example, if you have a biometric, so you see a HR at the end of the month, you cannot say we had 30 people in attendance. You'll be asked what was attendance in terms of time. So you'll say the working hours this month was 3,000 distributed among 10 employees. So I want to assume that is what it means by big data.
Yes, and you have explained further. No, maybe we can just close up and go, because that's exactly what it is. And just to highlight a few, Mary said is a lot of information. Winnie Mutai says big data is voluminous information. Violet says complex data that needs further analysis. Yes, all those are correct, and it just needs a way of. That's why it's called analytics. It's data that needs being analyzed. Once that it is analyzed, it gives you insights into what you want or want to look at. So, in a nutshell, refers to the use of large-scale workforce data. This is presumably workforce data or organizational data, and using advanced analytical techniques or tools to guide the decisions that are being made. So, as I said, this is not just about HRs, but we are, of course, narrowing down to HRs and how it helps them. But it helps leadership decision to align to organizational strategic goals. All right. So big data in HR, it goes beyond simple headcount, as Purity had mentioned, that it gives you report like payroll reports. It allows you as a HR to combine information from multiple sources, like recruitment, like performance, like reviews, like, for example, employee engagement surveys, to uncover certain patterns. What are you looking for? Then you see, when you have analyzed this data, it gives you certain patterns that you can derive, decisions from it. All right. So it moves beyond intuition or guesswork. It enables you as an organization to identify trends, to predict behavior, to improve business performance or employee performance, and to also give you strategic leverage in terms of what goals are you setting for your organization, what goals are you setting for your staff, for your employees, for your for your department, so to speak, right? So we are leveraging data-driven insights as professionals so that we can make smarter and faster decisions. We realize that this is the age of AI. Something that was could take a week or a month to do 5 years ago, right now it's taking seconds, even minutes, if not seconds, right? So what does this data mean? As some of you had mentioned, it has volume, right? It has variety, right? It is generated from different sources. And all these things now put together, when you analyze that now using tools that are in place, it gives you insight, as I mentioned, right? All right. So in HR context, as mentioned, it refers to the use of large volume of employee or work-related data. This is, again, both can be structured or unstructured. Again, what comes out of that is helpful insight to improve. Now, as a HR, it improves you in terms of people management, in terms of organizational performance, in terms of decision making, whether it's to do with employee engagement, whether it's to do with retention of policies and things like that, right? All right. Now, we have seen what are the sources of this information. As I said, this is voluminous information, as one of us has mentioned. It's big data, right? So it's from different sources, but these different sources then are, as Purity had mentioned, at input level, it is filtered or funneled through a system that is able to help you now uh, gather insight in terms of, say, for example, recruitment, payroll, performance, and so forth, right? So now, moving from, now we have several ways we can analyze this data, and three of major ways is we have descriptive, we have predictive, then we have prescriptive. Now, moving from descriptive to predictive in HR, it means that shifting from simply analyzing what happened to forecasting what is likely to happen, then taking a proactive steps. Now, descriptive is it describes what happened, right? For example, an employee left. Why did they leave? You may not know the reason, but maybe if you had this data and you analyze, you could have maybe foreseen certain trends in these employees, certain behaviors in these employees, so that it can inform you of what to do as a next step. So now, a HR nowadays will no longer just report data as a reactive mechanism, but instead, this data after analysis, it will be able to prevent issues and you become proactive. So that's why big data comes in to help. Now, descriptive, like, for example, as 30 employees resigned in 2024, right? That is descriptive. It is describing, or rather giving you details of what happened. Like, for example, I see an example of like a CCTV in your house. You put it on, you've gone to work or gone whatever, you come back, you are going to rewind and see what happened. It's not going to prevent a thief if they are coming in. That's why you realize in Nairobi, people are just stealing. They don't care if CCTV, these days it's everywhere, in every shop, in every organization, but people steal anyway, because now looking at that data is an after. It gives you a record of what happened, but it does not help you to prevent it. Now, based on that, we go to predictive. Predictive now, say for example, in terms of CCTV, where you have a command center, then this command center is manned by a person. He'll be able to see the behavior of people. Like for example, in a supermarket, when you see people moving, you are able to see maybe the behavior in this. You see people maybe behaving in a certain way. You are able to make a judgment in terms of, can I follow this person because I'm seeing this person is behaving in a funny way, so that in case something happens, you can preempt or rather prevent from giving a report, or rather preventing them from stealing. Okay, now, for example, now in this case, based on data, 15 high performing employees are at risk of leaving. So this is a system giving this information. So it tells you, unless engagement is improved, you are going to lose this data, right? So you as a HR, now that you have this information, it helps you know, where are my next step. Then comes in the third step, prescriptive. So prescriptive analytics now helps you to tells you what to do about it. All right. Now it even gives you maybe the steps to take, so that you focus. Now in this case, you focus on optimizing, or rather engaging these employees, recommending maybe certain types of trainings and things like that. So it gives you best steps to do, or rather to employ, so that you can prevent employee turnover. So if it's telling you that 15 high performing employees are likely to leave, so and of course, as an organization, you do not want these employees to leave, right? Now, since you don't want them to leave, you will engage them in terms of, okay, what are the likely triggers that these employees will leave? So what can I do as a countermeasure to prevent that, right? Now, HR analytics is also called people analytics or workforce analytics, which is, again, just a collection, analysis, and interpretation of HR-related data. When you say HR-related data, I know many of us know what we mean in terms of these concerns about, staff-related, performance-related, organization-related, and things like those. So this helps you as a person or as a HR to make decisions instead of relying on, gut feelings or past events, experience. People say experience is the best teacher. So right now, you don't have to wait for the experience. We have the Gen Zs these days, they have AI at their fingertips. They can, I know some of them, they went through, they put the constitution in one of these AI applications, and it was able to summarize for them what they need to to look out for in terms of governance, what they need to look out for in terms of as a person, integrity issues, things like those. So when you are engaging, like say for example, the employees, you are able to know, what am I looking for in terms of interacting with these employees, or in this my data, so that it can give me insights that are going to help me focus on data-driven decisions, right? Now, at this point, I would like maybe to ask, I know many of us have affiliated to one organization or the other. What are those systems that you have put in place, or what are those, how do you analyze your data in your organization? If you have a system in place, and how is it analyzing data? Maybe if I could hear one or two suggestions from the crowd. Yeah? You can just unmute, raise your hand to speak, or make use of the chat platform. Again, Purity, you help me if there is data there on the chat platform. Or we are not using systems in our places. Am I audible, Purity? Yeah.
Wilfred, did you
Yes.
call me out? Sorry.
Yeah, I was asking if I'm audible.
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay, so Kiprono says we are using a system. Kiprono, would you care to say if the HR system you have, or rather the system for data analytics you have, is able to align with your company overall strategy? Kibaya says they are using Mansoft HRS. Okay, that's great. It's one of those best systems we have. Okay, another question maybe, is there a decision that maybe in your organization, maybe that could have benefited from data insight? Maybe a decision that was made that maybe you felt that, okay, this decision was made not having full data in mind, or rather not having full information in mind, and this could have benefited from, you know, some bit of analytics. Yeah. Valin Handa says, okay, they use abstracts. Very many systems are out there. All right. Now, moving on. Data as, how do we, as I said, how do we make use, or how do we analyze, or rather make use of this data to analyze our system to analyze our data? Now, we know that we don't have to rely on intuition anymore. That one we know. So how do we move forward on this one? Right? We know transforms this big data analytics transforms raw data into meaningful insight. That we know. For instance, analyzing data turnover can reveal departments with high attrition, prompting targeted retention strategies. High attrition is now that those departments, or rather organizations, that maybe some departments people may be resigning, but they are not replacing. So you find that maybe the people who are remaining, they are bombarded with a lot of tasks to do. And then based on this, they become disgruntled. Then over time, you will have a high turnover, because now people are leaving, they are not being replaced. The people who are remaining, they are being disgruntled because of now having large volume of data to work with. And as he said, pesa and kidogo. So looking away, using analytics it enables you as a leader or a HR to strategize. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to plan in order to prevent this? What can I anticipate so that the future, I know what will happen in the future so that I can prevent it? Okay. So in this system, for example, it helps you to know how many staff will be needed in the next maybe 2 or 3 years, or who are the employees that are at high risk of leaving, or who are the employees, because now these are the systems we use in terms of employee engagement. So within that, you know, okay, are employees engaged enough? Are they satisfied? Are they disgruntled from one way or for one way or the other? Do they have possibility of leaving? Sometimes employees can do you bad, right? They leave unannounced, and you have, of course, you had strategic goals that you wanted to meet, but because these are maybe one of those high performing employees and they've just left like that, then again you are drawn back many steps. All right. So predicting skill shortages in digital roles helps a lot in reskilling programs. Improving retention or other recruitment quality in selections. Now, this data is used to identify which hiring sources bring the best candidates. This system is used to assess which candidate traits correlate with your long-term success of the company. As I say, it is able to predict who are employees that are likely to perform, who are employees that are likely not to perform, and then you can use that to enhance employee engagement and retention, right? Again, this system reduces biasness. Okay, it improves, driving fairness, all right, and objectivity. All right, now we go to our case study. On our case study, you are going to use Google. I believe many of us know Google by the fact that I know 90% of people on the call, they have a Gmail account. So Google ran a study, or rather a research, to how these analytics will help them in terms of knowing if managers matter, or what makes a good manager, or how to improve their systems, or rather their employee engagement. So scenario one, they used this data to study performance reviews, and they carried out surveys and productivity data. All these data were correlated and then analyzed. The results showed that managers matter a lot, and they identified 8 key behaviors of great managers, like, for example, coaching, empowerment, and career development. Because we realize that when you have managers, there are those managers that they do not care whether the subordinates improve or not, as long as they have checked their box of performance reviews. Now, in this case, they care about output than how that output was achieved. So in terms of these analytics, Google was able to know those managers who are coaching, those managers who are empowering, those managers who are uh, um, encouraging career development are good to have. So the impact for this was they redesigned their management style. They redesigned their training around this insight, coaching, empowerment, and career development, which overall improved team's performance. Now, this, I think 5 years back, Google was one of those companies that people would say is the best company to work for, all right? How did they achieve this? They used data to analyze performance, behaviors, and gotten insights that will help them now be on the trajectory of, well-rounded employee engagement or employee welfare, right? So scenario number 2, they use this to predict retention risks, right? So they applied, as we mentioned, they applied predictive. There are 3 ways of applying these analytics styles. One, as we mentioned, we have predictive, we have prescriptive, and then we have prescriptive, right? So they use predictive analytics to employee data. Now, like promotions, satisfaction surveys, if the employees were satisfied in the company or not, They use that to analyze whether the compensation is good or not. And this, they build models to predict which employee were at high risk of leaving. The impact for this was that the managers could intervene early enough so that for those that were likely to leave, of course, the system will tell you, or this data analytics will tell you, what are those likely triggers that these people will leave. And then you are able to counter that so that you know, if I do this, they will be able to be retained. And they are able to do that. And then the impact was felt. What are the lessons that Google learned on all this process? One, that data beats intuition. Of course, as we've said, in this day and age, we do not have to guess. We do not have to rely on experience. We do not have to rely on gut feeling. So we have to use data, right? So that we can make the best decision going forward. Again, lesson number 2 was analytics improved fairness, right? It reduces biasness either in hiring, promotion, and in evaluation. Number 3, it says that proactive HR become proactive because now you are able to predict. And then if you are able to predict, that means you are able to prevent. All right. So at the end of the day, your goals are met, productivity is improved, and you become a strategic partner rather than just an operational HR. Now, you can link now HR to business success because now you have prevented some of these issues that are emerging. You have better hires, you have low attrition rates, you have improved now overall company performance. All right. Now, as I said, now, which, sorry about that, system issues. Now, we go to tools and technologies that we use as HRs. I had mentioned, asked that question if we have tools that people use here. And Valin said they use Atrax, Kibaya said they use Payman, Mansoft. I know there are many out there. But now, modern HR tools such as, most of them are cloud-based. And of recent, now 3 or 4 years back, now they become AI driven, all right? They can be able to give you visualization. They are able, just in a single pane of glass, you are able to see example trends in terms of either absenteeism, in terms of training needs, in terms of training completion, in terms of employee engagement and such like stuff, right? Okay. In a second, my slide is stuck. See if we can move on to the next. So let's define what cloud-based HRS is, right? It is a cloud-based platform that is designed either for payroll, compliance, leave management, and employee records, right? Now we are talking about, there are many out there, but today, as I remember, I think 2 weeks back, we were dealing with digital HR, and we ran through people HR what it is able to do in terms of all this data analysis, even onboarding. It's able to do application tracking. It is able to analyze a payroll, and what are these strengths that this system have? They provide analytics for attendance, payroll, and compliance trends. It tracks workforce costs and headcount. It offers real-time reporting in terms of compliance and workforce workforce insights. Now, maybe from the people who are on the call, from the systems that they are using, probably I would like to ask a question in terms of now systems that they are using. What kind of visual dashboard would be most useful for you as a person who is using that system? Whether maybe your system has dashboards or not, what kind of visual dashboard would you think that will be most useful to you? I know for people for people HRS, we are building that dashboards. For now, the reporting part is what we can get from that. But now, in terms of dashboards, it's really coming through very soon. Purity, that's correct.
100% correct. So I'm also interested to hear what other systems they have or what they wish to have in a
Yeah.
HR dashboard. Uh, Also to represent data because we are just on the final stages of launching. So it would be interesting to hear maybe what they think HR analytics should include. We'll check if it's already there. If it's not, we'll be happy to integrate.
Yeah, and they should be on the lookout. We're going to do that launch here so that they can see an example of a dashboard, how it looks like.
Yeah, and also the power of data because data, if handled well or manipulated well, it can really, it's also very exciting to work on data. So I think it will be interesting just to see how that will come out as well.
Yeah, yeah. So, or will be correct to say that the systems our crowd today are using, they do not have dashboards also. And that will be very interesting because now it will make the question very valid because now if what you are looking for people HRMS can provide, then I think it's time, right? Anyone? Okay. Probably if you're still thinking, you can just use the chat platform to, highlight some of the things that you might want to see as a leader in your organization. What are those things that you would like to see your HRS system performing? The things that it's not maybe doing well right now, and the things that you would like to do in going forward, because now that can be captured in terms of the future trends, right? All right. Now, when organization use data, there are very many challenges that come with it. One would be data overload and ethical compliance, because we realize right now when we are in the age of AI, there's a lot of challenges that come with it in terms of, yes, we have data that is being sourced from different sources. Are they complying? So you find that a company is able to, or rather not able to ensure that the data is either ethical or data is clean. In terms of how to lose that becomes a problem. Yes, someone mute, please.
Sheila, your mic is on. Do you mind? Yes, thank you.
Thank you for that. Now, again, fragmented systems. You have a system that maybe it's doing task A, then you have another system that is doing task B. Correlating this thing two becomes a problem. Again, becomes a big challenge in terms of analytics, right? Poor data quality. Again, data is just data. If it's not analyzed well, or if the input is wrong, you are going to get the wrong output. As we always say, garbage in, garbage out. So you have to have a system that is able to help you synthesize and then analyze this data, but of course the input has to be correctly, right? Lack of skills, and again, today's workforce we have lack of skills in terms of people who are sourcing this data or data input. Then we have the final one, and is a big one, is resistant to adoption. Okay, now we know many of us are resistant to change. We have seen even the government of Kenya trying to integrate systems in their governance, but you've seen there's a lot of obstacles in terms of resistance from the people. But again, what I always say is, if people know the value of a system, the resistance goes declining. The more you know about a system and how it can help you, the more you are inclined to adopt it. But if the system is just shoved down your throat and you don't know, this system I'm told is going to do good, but I don't know what good it is going to do. So your first instinct will be to resist it, right? But as we said, in the age of AI, leaders, HR in particular, they do not have to rely on systems they used to, or manual systems they used to employ before. So we have to use current systems that are able to process large forms of data, and then it can be able to help us relate insight from it, right? Maybe at this point, I'd like to ask again, what are the challenges that you have faced with your system, the one that you currently have? Or if you do not have, definitely now we'll be looking to enhance your knowledge in terms of how you should be able to use these systems, right? So what identify, maybe just tell me one or two challenges that you have faced, and probably if you surmounted, or rather you went through that and then came out with a solution, you'll be able to tell us maybe the solution that worked for you, right? Ama maswali imekuwa ngumu. Yeah. Yeah. Someone told me once that if people have acquired, they have either understood everything, or you need to explain more, right? Any challenges, or people are not facing any challenges? Maybe I'll throw this one back to Purity. Maybe you can help me out on this one. What are those challenges? Maybe I know people HRS is, as I said, it's still being updated as we go. Times have changed. I know things that used to work, as you said, ACCUREX is 10 years back now. Things that used to work then, they are not the ones that are working now, or what people used to ask then, they are not what they're asking now. So what are those challenges that you're faced in terms of people HRS implementation?
So I think especially for the challenges in respect to implementation, the needs are so diverse.
Yeah.
Number one,
Mm.
what client A wants and what client B wants, they're two worlds apart.
True.
So we've gotten to a point that we feel like we will go with what we think should be there, because you're not really able to fulfill everyone's needs, especially when you do SaaS,
Yeah.
software as a service, because typically software as a service is for mass market,
Mm.
and there's no way you are able to keep customizing, especially on different customer needs. And today you'll find, like, say, the international companies, them, they're big on data.
Yeah.
There's no report you'll present without giving figures, facts, and backing them up.
Yeah.
So I say, especially with the international companies, they're the most needful. Kenyan companies, we're still struggling with data. So we've gotten to a point that we ask ourselves, who is our client market? If we go international, we'll have to go big on data, also to become a bit expensive. But if we remain local, the local league, but I still feel as HR, we are still struggling with data.
Yeah.
Especially myself, having worked in an international company, I know how international, especially in terms of reporting, they want their reports, they want the representation also in the reports. But now when you come back to Kenya, you're like, where Sisi, we are playing in the small leagues. So I think that's where the biggest challenge is coming, just to be able to blend or create a product that is able to touch on the international market segment and also on the local market segment. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Yeah, very good insight in that. I know there are many challenges that people are facing in terms of implementation, even development. And many a times that you find that, as you say, SaaS system you can't please on. But what I've found it working is, yeah, there is for developers, they leave a room for, uh, it's called a bespoke adaptation in terms of if client A wants something different from client B, they are able, if they have their developer in-house, or they can source a developer to kind of add that as an add-on to a system. That we have, the biggest analytic tools we have there, or application we have there, they have that capability. You can do your own development that is going to ride on the base of the application. Okay. So, how do we overcome these challenges, right? We know they are there. So most of these things, we know that data often sits in different systems. Surveys, if you are doing surveys, if you are doing recruitment platform, and then it makes the system become what do you call hard to see, or it makes the system you cannot see the bigger picture. So the solution to this is to have a system that is able to integrate all these data sources in one suite. So if you are doing, you don't have to have a system that is one doing payroll, then you have another system that is doing learning and development, then you have another system that is doing performance reviews, because now you'll have data that is disintegrated. Again, it will not give you insight into what you are looking for. As I said, um, data is just data. If it's not giving you information that you can work with, then it's not a relevant data, right? Okay, there are other systems that will make you, or rather can help you integrate this, like Power BI, for example. Microsoft have come up with a very robust tool in terms of data analytics called Power BI. It gives you business intelligence in terms of the past and present, and then the future. You can analyze where your business is going, or the trajectory of your business, so that you can see what to do going forward. Okay. All right. My slides are behaving. Okay. You can still see my screen?
Yes, we can see, but I think you're also hanging a lot,
Yeah.
hanging in terms of your image.
Okay. Apologies for that. All right. All right. Okay. So overcoming data quality and accuracy challenges, as I said, garbage in, garbage out. When you have data that is not uh, right from the beginning, you will have data that is not right at the end. For example, if you have an employee exit reason are not recorded properly, attrition analysis will be flawed. So you will not see why are these people leaving. And I know many of us, when you leave an organization, we like to, leave a good image. So you will not tell them a real reason you are leaving, like the boss is like Mbwa management style of leading. If the boss is giving you, stress at work, you will not say that. So many of those reasons will not be captured. But when you have a system that is able to capture from the get-go, from performance in the beginning, you'll be able to see these trends as you go. So the solution to this is you establish data governance policies, clear rules on how your data is collected, updated, and maintained. Train your team in terms of accuracy, whether it's input so that you can have a good output, whether it's validating this data. Of course, there has to be one that is inputting and one that is validating so that you can align the data as need be, right? Now, again, in terms of skills, we know there could be a gap also. There, for some organizations, they face a gap in terms of skill sets. Okay, so the solution to this, again, we have to invest in training. It can be your own personal development. You want to know, like this AI, there are not many organizations that are teaching people how to use AI. Most of the people, I bet even on the call today, their first interaction with AI was their own self. They were not taught, okay? So again, training helps in skill gap, mentors. All right, now how do we build a data-driven culture? One, why is it important? Because now we know that leadership doesn't value, if leadership doesn't value data, then it will just be as data as it is. It will be, they'll think it is nice to have, it's a good thing, but if they don't value it, they will not use it. So how do we circumvent this? We should share success stories for those, like, for example, right now we are sharing how, people HRS is able to do payroll, is able to do attendance, is able to do KPIs, is able to track your application or rather employee from onboarding to exit. If you share those success stories, then people will see, okay, now I really need this because if I don't have the system and I see this one is performing very well, I'm able to be inclined to adopt that, right? Again, upskilling. As organization, we should also invest in upskilling our team because we know that we need professionals that are able to interpret the system because, again, you may have good data, but if you don't have good people to interpret that data or good system to interpret that data, again, it is still data that will not help you. All right. Now, and I gave an example there instead of attrition. Like, for example, if attrition is 12%, the system will tell you that if this continues, you will going to lose 40 high performing employees in 6 months. So again, that translates to X amount of maybe 10 million, 5 million. If you know, because it is very, what do you call it? It's very expensive to hire because people just don't take it as it's a cost to hire people. So when you have high turnover, you keep hiring. It's a cost to you as a company. All right. Again, you keep training people who are not performing because a new person will not perform as a person who was there, 5 years back or 2 years back. Right. We are supposed to shift from descriptive, predictive to prescriptive, all right? You have the system that is going to describe to you what the problem is. And you have a system that is going to predict that if this problem continues, you are going to lose on revenue. Then you have another, the system again, the same system is going to give you a prescriptive solution to the problem. So you are able to, to be all rounded in terms of the system that you are using, in terms of how you make your decision so that you can, your best effort are kept where is really needed, right? You embed data into every decision you make as an organization. That's how you can build a data-driven culture, right? When something is used frequently or consistently, it becomes second nature to you. So again, like right now, even I'll use an example. For lack of a better word, they forced us to use SHA, they forced us to use, it's called IFMIS or Teams. But you see, the more and more people use it, the more they know, they realize the best, it is the best, the more they realize the value it is adding to them, right? So if you as a HR, you make your proposal that is backed by evidence. Now, this evidence in terms of data, the organization is they don't have a chance otherwise but to believe, because you have data that is able to predict, or rather data that they are able to use in terms of their decision making. All right, now as we finalize, what are our future trends? Again, I'll go back to AI. I know some time back we dealt about AI, and we saw what AI is making waves, disrupting, and we know that if you do not get on the bandwagon, you are going to be left behind, because at every level, even the smallest phone these days is coming with AI embedded in it. So it's not something that we can avoid. So one of the future trends is we are going to see a lot of these organizations or other applications embed AI into their systems. We are going to see, AI-driven data set analysis, and AI is able to analyze large volumes of data in in a very few hours or minutes, so to speak. So, and a system like People HRS, and we have many other systems out there, is going to guide you in future. Now you just, when you put out an advert out there, if it's in a vacant position advert, then from onboarding to performance management to all those stuff, it is being able to, the system will be able to take care of that. And you as a person now, you can focus on strategic management in terms of what are the trajectory the business is going, can we do so that we can impact more in terms of employee engagement, in terms of system adoption, in terms of data analytics, right? So the impact of AI will be, we have large volume data that will work on it faster. Again, it becomes less biased in terms of making decisions. It does not have ethical oversight. It is because as we go further and further into AI and machine learning, ethical or ethics becomes a very large, or rather very big thing that we cannot be overlooked. We have to know, how is this data being analyzed? How is this data being collected, and how is this data being um, used, right? So those are some of the ethics that we as a people, or rather we as leaders, should be able to answer that going forward, to look out for in terms of future trends. But AI will be a big thing. Now, again, integration with HR analytics will be used in every business strategy, right? Because we know that this HR analytics is not a standalone product. So it is directly linked into your financial operation. It is directly linked into your, customer data, and it's directly linked into how your business performance is based on, right? Now, like for example, linking workforce productivity to a customer satisfaction. When we see, like, for example, a customer journey, when they inquire for a product, when they get that product, and what is the feedback, when they use the product, what is the feedback? This system is also able to capture all this information. That's why we have like companies like, for example, Carrefour. They are very big in terms of, customer satisfaction surveys, and they call what KFC. They are very big on that. They have to. They always carry out surveys on how satisfied are you, and they are able to use this information to curate what products they are bringing to the market. At the same time, now in HR's perspective, you will be able to curate what type of employees do I want in my organization, or what type of productivity am I looking at in terms of my employees. So you as a HR, you become a strategic partner rather just as a department, because realize that long ago, and many organizations, as Purity had mentioned, we are in Kenya, we are a bit still struggling in terms of data analytics. So we find that large organizations are not focusing, or rather are not basing their decision largely on data that is being analyzed. So again, the future is going to focus on well-being, or mental health and inclusion analytics. Now we have future HRs that will track employee wellness, mental health. They are going to include diversity, equity, and inclusion. All right. So like using they are called what? Pulse surveys. You'll be able to, you have system in place that are able to, know what your mental state is, what your, physical state is. So in terms of that, you're able, even you as a person, you are able to know your capabilities in terms of how your body is responding to um, all this information and all this data, right? Now, and a lot of them are going to be, or rather, we have improved in terms of how these systems are. So most of them are cloud-based. Again, even people HRS is cloud-based, so you can access it anywhere at any time. So it is allowing to be scalable. It is secure, because now when you have data centers here in Nairobi or here in Kenya, the security becomes a very big aspect to it. So data protection becomes also a very big aspect to that, right? So leaders will get access to this big data without having to have heavy infrastructure. So like me, for example, if I want to have this software, I can be able to have it and I don't have to buy anything. You just go to Purity, tell her that, give me this software, and I know it's friendly to the pocket, and you can be able to, use that as you go anywhere and at any time. So you don't have to be tied to one place. All right. So I think at this point I'll have Q&A because we've come to the end. If there is any question, we'll take that as we wrap up. So at this point, I'll just return the mic back to Purity. Maybe you can tell us what other engagements we have in terms of trainings at ACCUREX, in terms of platforms that you have for us, systems that you have for us, as people think of questions.
Yes, and thank you so much, Wilfred. That was very, very insightful. I've picked a few ideas, especially on the impact of data and especially on decisions. And I think a lot of us today we are struggling, especially the traditional HR. Uh, uh, I've come from processing payroll in an Excel sheet all the way you using single face kind of payrolls and all of that. So I think also technology is really coming in hand, and also data manipulation. When you are starting, you talked about AI, and the other day I saw one of my colleagues. He had this massive data. Guess what? He just ran it through ChatGPT, and quickly ChatGPT analyzed it. And but you see, ChatGPT analyzing it is one one step, but also getting the output that you need out of it. So, and now I am also seeing a lot of AI is going towards prompting because garbage in, garbage out, of course.
Yeah.
So if you also don't give it the correct instructions, you don't also get the correct output. So that's bit I've really learned a lot. Thank you so much for gracing us on ACCUREX o'clock. And it's about to come to an end. So far I'm not able to see any questions, but I hope my fellow HRs and supervisors and whatever role you play in your organization, you've been able to pick a thing or two from our webinar this morning. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll do this again next week. Next week is customer service week. So we have a hot topic on customer and also a topic that will touch on our customer service team. So HRs, invite your customer service team. Let them learn also a thing or two around the customer experience and how customers are perceiving our products and service, how to promote return customers and all of that. So that is it from us this morning from ACCUREX. ACCUREX again is a HR consulting firm. We do trainings, we do recruitment. We have a few going on currently. So just check them out, see if we can plug you to a job. We also do people HRIs. I know, Wilfred, you've talked about it for some time in this presentation. So it would also be nice for you to get a free demo, see what this people HRS is all about and how we can integrate it in your workplace. So what else are we doing? Yes, this week we are in Mombasa actually, and we're excited to meet our HR. We're excited to meet our HR practitioners in the region. So if you don't have a plan for Saturday, I have a plan for you. Just visit our website. The event details are on our website. So just sign up for the event. It will be running on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We'll give you free breakfast and also we'll give you a lunch. So please come and interact with us, meet with us. Sometimes, whenever you get a call from a client and you say you are in Nairobi, it looks like you're so far away. But the last 2 weeks, we've dedicated ourselves to come meet our clients in Mombasa just to see how their businesses are doing. So it will also be nice to talk to you all, especially if you're in Mombasa, and see how we can plug you to your business. So always coordinating this, making sure the entire team is here, and we are looking forward to meeting you again next week. So thank you and have a very wonderful afternoon.
Thank you too, everyone, and bye bye.
Bye.